Hi, today we're going to go ahead and be reading Out of Wonder. Poems celebrating poets, Quam Alexander, with Chris Colderley and Marjorie Wentworth. Illustrated by Ikua Holmes. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look at the back. And on the back, it's going to go ahead and give us a description of certain poems and artist who had illustrated them. Out of Wonder, a collection of original poems celebrating 20 beloved poets from around the world and across centuries. Maya Angelou, Basho, Gwendolyn Brooks, Sandra Cisneros, Billy Collins, E. Cummings, Emily Dickinson, Robert Frost, Chief Dan George, Nikki Giovanni, Terrence Hayes, Langston Hughes, Walter Dean Myers, Pablo Neruda, Naomi Shiba, Mary Oliver, Oko P. Bitek, Rumi, William Carlos Williams, and Judith Wright. I'm going to go ahead and start off on this first page. Okay, so the book is set up into 3 parts. We're going to go ahead and start off with part 1, Got Style. Poets love to make up their own rules about writing. That's what makes it so much fun. Sometimes, Cummings and Nikki Giovanni use ellipses to separate ideas and lowercase letters at the beginning of sentences. Langston Hughes, who loved jazz, was a master of repetition, rhythm, rhyming, couplets, and quatrains. The poem in this section pay tribute to the poets being celebrated by adopting their styles and rhythms. We're going to go ahead and start off on our first poem, How to Write a Poem, celebrating Nwame Shiam Nai. Hush. Grab a pencil, some paper, spunk. Let loose your heart, raise your voice. What if I have many voices? Let them dance together, twist and turn like best friends in a maze till you find your way to that one true word or two. Our second poem is going to go ahead and be Contemporary Haiku, celebrating Basho. Desk in tidy rows, notebooks and texts neatly stacked. New Year begins soon. Thunder and lightning, rain soaking the school blacktop. Recess bell silent, pens scratching paper. Syllables counted with care. Poets blossoming. Snapshots, celebrating Nikki Giovanni. People forget. Poetry is not just words on a page. It is a snowflake on your tongue, a tattoo on the inside of your arm, a dashiki, and a kaftan, tripping down the streets of Lincoln Heights, shouting from the hills of Knoxville, Tennessee. Poetry is barbecue, cotton candy, purple skin beats from Daddy's garden, blues, the Birdline Jazz Club, Sunday morning gospel, chasing justice, freedom. Poetry is remembering the things that matter, the ones you love. When night comes softly, like ripples on a pond. We're going to go ahead and go to part 2 now. In your shoes. Sometimes our poems sound like they were written by our favorite poets, and that's okay. It's easy to incorporate the feelings and themes of the poets we are reading into our own word. Walter Dean Myers loved basketball. Judith Wright was a well-known environmentalist. And Billy Collins makes you laugh out loud with his conversational and witty observations on the everyday happenings of life. Using these ideas, we can create our own masterpieces. We're going to go ahead and head off to A Field of Roses, celebrating Emily Dickinson. I kept an old verse in my room that says, "Believing in roses makes them bloom." I know enough of life's toil to say it also takes rich, fertile soil, lots of good old-fashioned care, and rain to make roses bloom in air. Here, a beautiful red field grows, I'd say the loveliest anyone knows. We're going to go ahead and move on to How Billy Collins Writes a Poem, celebrating Billy Collins. When you first wake up, notice how your mother's voice calling you to breakfast sounds like a fire alarm. Watch them steam rising off your oatmeal like tiny clouds, and guess where it goes. Pay attention to the smallest things. A fly buzzing near the kitchen window, bright rocks in the driveway, the handful of marbles in your pocket, the sound they make when you walk. Imagine that the leaves spinning in the wind on the walk to school are alien ships, and that our barking dogs belong to a prince. At night, when the stars seem close, reach up and grab some. Our lives are made up from these things. When you were describe them, you discover magic. It's the way your pen becomes a wand in your hand, and this may be the only thing you need to know. We're going to go ahead and go on to The Music of Earth, celebrating Pablo Neruda. No matter how far I've traveled, across glaciers and snow-covered mountains, and across road thick with mud, from one corner of the world to another, through years of war and exile and love, I always return to the green silence of the Chilean forest, where my words linger and accumulate like rocks, blurring in the cold rain. I found a place where the wild sea beats against the back of my country, and I stayed on Isla Negra, watching wave upon wave breaking below my window, while I sat at a table inscribing the language of water, finding new words for salt and starlight, describing how the wind tastes, writing the struggle of my people. We're going to go ahead and skip on to Loving the World and Everything in It, celebrating Mary Oliver. Each day I walk out onto the damp grass before the sun has spoken, because I love the world and the miracle of morning. I love to stay beside the old oak trees beneath a symphony of a birdsong and listen to every perfect note. While the wind passes around me like a warm sea, sometimes a feather drifts upon into my hand. I hold it and imagine flying. I'm going to go ahead and move on to part 3 of the book now. Thank you. A poet's word can affect us in a highly personal way. A poem can sometimes be so powerful that it might even feel as though the poet is speaking directly to us, as if we were in the middle of a private conversation. When we are moved in such a profound way, we speak back. The poems in the section respond by simply sharing with the world in words how awesome we feel about the poet and the poem. I'm going to go ahead and go to this first poem. Hue and Cry, celebrating Gwendolyn Brooks. Bronzeville lady, way past cool. Voice like butter, melting blues. She sung low, she swung high. Ruse with rhyme, hue and cry. Woman black, smile like moon. Bronzeville lady, gone too soon. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on to our second to last poem, The Poet Inside Me, celebrating Sandra Cisneros. You are the little girl from Mango Street, the one with the lazy locks and an old red sweater on her desk. You are the only daughter to the traveler with dos lenguas, the one who holds papa when he weeps. You are the fairy tales in mi vida, the world in my alphabet soup, the book in my backpack for the trip to school. You are la luna that glows when I sleep, the poet inside me, waiting to rise like the morning sun. Our last poem is going to go ahead and be Majestic, celebrating Maya Angelou. Rise into the wonder of daybreak. Be a rainbow in the cloud. Be a free bird on the back of the night wind. Shine on, honey. Walk with joy in your gold feet over crystal seas and the purpled mountains. Know your beauty. It is a thunder. Your precious heart unsellable. Be brave, like a new seed bursting, with extraordinary promise. Shine on, honey. You know you are phenomenal. Okay. Based on the cover, did you guys go ahead and expect all these different poems, the variety that they had to offer? Thank you for reading.